This week sees the return of a complete history of, and today we're looking at Mortal Kombat, the notoriously brutal fighter which sees its 10th iteration arriving next year. To begin, we have to go back to 1992, to the first spine-ripping iteration of the now classic series. While Street Fighter II offered crisp combos and tactical fisticuffs, Mortal Kombat was the brash, eye-gouging bad boy who your parents warned you about. With its realistic depictions of fighters and proudly gushing violence, Mortal Kombat caused public outrage and battered its way into fighting game history. Midway followed on this success with the release of Mortal Kombat 2 the following year. The sequel added a stack of new characters and multiple fatalities, not to mention more benevolent finishes such as babalities and friendships. It also expanded the original Mortal Kombat narrative inspired by the story in Star Wars. This was the first time you got to see the previously unseen Emperor of Outrealm, Shao Kahn. Another sequel followed in 1995, sticking to the same successful format but adding key tweaks, like the ability to run and pre-programmed dialer combos. Unfortunately, many fans were peeved at the removal of series stalwarts such as Raiden and Scorpion. This, however, was followed by an update in arcades the same year, named Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, which added previously absent characters such as Kitana, Mileena and Scorpion. John Tobias claimed this was done to appease arcade operators, making up for the swift release of MK3 on home consoles. Next came the Mortal Kombat Trilogy for PlayStation and Nintendo 64 in 1996 and Sega Saturn and PC in 1997. This anthology bypassed the arcades and went straight to home consoles, collecting together all the stages and characters from the history of the series so far. In 1997, we got Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero for N64 and PlayStation. This was the first action-adventure Mortal Kombat game set before the original tournament. Originally planned as a whole series, Mythologies is a stinker, best remembered these days for the excruciatingly horrible cutscenes.
Let's get something straight. I am not a ninja, I am Lin Kuei.
1997 also saw the series make its transition to 3D with Mortal Kombat 4, proud owner of one of the greatest game over screens in video games. The story introduces Elder God Shinnok, whom Raiden must defeat with help, as ever, from Earthrealm's greatest warriors. This was followed by an exclusive Dreamcast update, Mortal Kombat Gold, in 1999. Having learnt nothing from Mythologies, Midway again tried another action-adventure title in 2000, this time starring Jax. Mortal Kombat Special Forces is widely considered to be the worst Mortal Kombat game in existence. Many Midway staff, including John Tobias, departed during development, and Ed Boon didn't work on the game at all. After that came Mortal Kombat Advance, the Game Boy Advance version of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 in 2001, followed in 2002 by Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. Chronologically, the fifth Mortal Kombat game, Deadly Alliance featured chunky 3D combat and the ability for each character to switch between 3 bespoke fighting styles. After the disaster of Special Forces, Deadly Alliance felt like a knowing knockabout return to form. A second Game Boy Advance version of this was released in 2003 in the shape of Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition. The success of Deadly Alliance was followed up in 2004 by Mortal Kombat Deception. It mirrored the fighting style of Deadly Alliance, but packed in tons of additional stuff. Chess, a massive roster of characters, an expanded conquest mode, and for the first time ever in a 3D fighting game, an online mode. In 2005 we got Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks, which incredibly didn't suck. This was the first action-adventure title which felt like a Mortal Kombat game, featuring the same combos and fatalities. That was followed by Mortal Kombat Armageddon in 2006, sticking to the same successful format as Deadly Alliance and Deception. It featured over 60 characters, and for the first time in a Mortal Kombat game, a Kreate-a-Fighter mode. Most surprising though was the inclusion of Motor Combat, a cartoonish driving minigame based on Mario Kart. This year also saw the release of Mortal Kombat Unchained, the PSP version of Mortal Kombat Deception, and in 2007 we got a souped-up re-release of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 on the Nintendo DS. After that came Mortal Kombat vs DC Universe in 2008, a crossover title that had the Mortal Kombat roster going fist-to-face with some of DC's finest. While it still featured fatalities, some of the Mortal Kombat hardcore were disappointed by the slightly scaled-down gore. And that brings us to the release of Mortal Kombat in 2011. And yes, I did say the date right this week. This was closer in style to Street Fighter IV's 2.5D presentation, with 3D fighters on a 2D plane. The 9th entry in this series is a particularly schlocky reboot of the franchise, retelling the events of the first 3 Mortal Kombat games. It retained much of the swaggering violence that made the franchise famous, added some wonderfully sickening X-ray moves, and was a commercial and critical success. No surprise then that this year's E3 saw the big reveal of Mortal Kombat X, which promises to escalate the staggering, spine-snapping violence of the series. And that's your lot. Please remember to like this video if you enjoyed it and let us know which Mortal Kombat game you remember most fondly. Don't forget, you can also watch our complete history of Batman and complete history of The Simpsons by clicking the on-screen links now.